What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gaige. This is episode number 71, season 2 in the studio, brought to you in part by J&M Seafood of East Northport and East Setauket. Head over to those stores and check it out. Also, Bet Big Talk Loud, the podcast. So wherever you guys get your podcast, go check out Bet Big Talk Loud. I produce that sports podcast. You're going to love it. Check it out. Also, Craigor's Garage in Northport. If anybody is in the need of an amazing mechanic, head over to Craigor's Garage on 25A in Northport. I will put a link and information in the description to this video to get in touch with Craig. He does all the work on my truck. Thank you, Craig. What's up, everybody? We are just weeks away from splashdown. I'm starting to see a lot of boats moving around Long Island on trailers. It's starting. Everybody's starting to uncover and unwrap. We still have a couple of nights that are going to hit those 32 marks. I don't know if we're out of the safe zone yet for snow. We might still get, one more. Who knows? You never know. But if you ask me, I think we should string that groundhog up by his nuts on a tree somewhere and switch it up to a hedgehog or something a little cooler because I'm tired of winter and I'm happy it's over. And again, I think we're like 35 days away. 34 days away from opening day for striped bass. And we will be in the water soon enough. So, this past weekend, a big shout out to a lot of people that we saw at the Ward Melville High School Fishing Club Expo and fundraiser, which was a huge success. It was a 2-day event this year for those of you that stopped by and checked it out. It was great to see Janine. Thank you so much for stopping by the booth. That was awesome. That was a special guest. Also, Peter from Red Panther Rigs, who is going to be a sponsor for the Fishing League. He's going to donate rigs to the family division. So we're going to give them out to the kids in the family division, which is awesome. Again, thank you to J&M Seafood, they were a sponsor of the first annual Striped Bass Invitational. They're the grand prize sponsor of the second annual Striped Bass Invitational and a sponsor for thefishingleague.com. So we are grateful for them and Volpe Marine. So head over to volpemarine.com. He's in on the Fishing League as well. So I told you guys I had a secret weapon that I was going to head to this weekend's show that's in Edison. And I got the pleasure of sitting down with Chris from Go Deep MTK at the Ward Melville show, and he gave me some of their product here that I have to show you guys. And I had mentioned it in the Bay Rats and Buoys Fishing Club meeting that we had, that I was going to come back from the show and show them a secret weapon. Well, this is it. We can't wait to throw these this season. These things cast a country mile, and say that 10 times fast. And I can't wait to throw them out there. I really can't. So we got different sizes, different weights. They all do different things. This one's going to spin when you retrieve it because it has concave sides. This one does not have concave sides. And this is going to be like a walk the dog. This one also has a rattle in it. So this is very cool. There's smaller versions of it, which you'll see here. So we'll be throwing this in the back bay when me and Corey are back there first week of April. And we'll check them out, let you know how they do. But we're very excited. We love trying new products. That's what it's all about. And it was great to sit down, and you guys can listen to the episode I did at Ward Melville High School with Chris from Go Deep MTK. We love the product, and I think it's phenomenal. We saw it at the boat show. Goose Hummock had it there, and we can't wait to see Phil and his crew at the Edison show this weekend, the New Jersey Saltwater Expo. But again, Ward Melville, the best show that we have here on Long Island. This past weekend, it was great to sit and, talk with Captain Dave Flanagan from North Island Fly and Light Tackle. We love Dave. Always talking about him. I used to see him every morning on the dock at my old marina when I ran the Freedom Boat Club. So we had a lot of good laughs. In fact, we were laughing about some stuff this weekend from our past. So it was really cool. So it was great to see Dave. We saw a lot of people we saw Manny, everybody hears about Manny from the West. Well, he's a celebrity here on the podcast, and he was there. Who else did we get to see? We saw Frank. Of course, Frank stopped by. He had a list. He had a laundry list of stuff that he needed to get. So that's why it's great to go to that show. You get to run into people. You get to meet people. We got to meet a lot of new people that came up to us and said they love the podcast and watch it every week. So that was great. And it's always good to run into your old friends like Tom Schlichter and Mike at Deckett and Mike from Nautical School. So it's always great to see these guys. We've been seeing them consistently at all the shows. Bay Rats and Buoys has a nice presence. We set up a great booth. Everybody loves it. We get a ton of compliments. So for us, it's a ton of fun. It really is. We're not there to sell any product. This year we are promoting thefishingleague.com. So that is absolutely huge for us. That has taken off. We will be at this weekend's Edison show to check it out because next year we will have a booth there to promote the league. It will be on the South Shore and New Jersey next year. That's thefishingleague.com. So you guys can check it out. There's 5 different divisions you can join. Teams are forming fast, guys. The divisions are starting to fill up. Spots are limited, so go get your team registered. You don't have to put in all 4 players. You can just put in your name as the captain and the leader of the team, and then you could put in anybody's name for the second one, and even the name of the team you could leave as to be determined, and you can edit that in your profile as we get closer to the kickoff. But I would go and register your team now. Head over to thefishingleague.com. What's up, everybody? Holy shit, are we finally done with this winter or what? I am so excited. It's finally 50 degrees again. But again, we were talking about it. 50 degrees, 55 out of the water. Water temp's colder. You get out there, it's cold on the water. It is. So when you get out there this time of the year, you're in full Grundens, sweatshirts, a hat. It's still chilly out there. So, those days in the sun here on land when it's 60 and it feels great, and you're ready to wash your car and your truck again, it feels good, but out on the water, it's still cold. So keep that in mind when you kick off the season. Everybody's getting their boats ready. I was just talking to Craig. I was at Craig's garage this morning. He did an oil change on the truck because he handles all the maintenance for me on any and all vehicles, and I recommend him to everybody, family and friends. He's number one. He's the best of the best. And when somebody's that good, there's going to be a wait. You're going to have to make an appointment to get an oil change. It's not like call them up today and say, hey, can I get in tomorrow for an oil change? Good luck with that one. So I booked this a week ago to get in this morning. That's how busy he is. And it's great to see his business thriving and doing well. But he's also in the marina next to me. So we got to talk. We're always talking about boats. That's our passion. That's our, it's our love, really is. Work is always going to be work. But our passion is boating and fishing. And it's always great. You could always have a conversation with another captain, another boat owner. Everybody's always willing to talk shop and talk about their boat and what they're doing this year and what kind of maintenance they got to do. So it's no different for me than it is for you and for Craig and for everybody else that has a boat. We all have to do some maintenance to get it in the water. For some of us, it's a lot more expensive and a lot bigger. I get it. I do. Because I captain a lot of bigger boats. A lot of people hire me to come train them, whether they have new boats or they're, just starting out. I used to train all the members at the Freedom Boat Club, and it drives me nuts when I see them leave the harbor and they still have fenders out. It's hysterical. We make fun of it all the time, especially coming in and out of the Northport harbor. It cracks me up, really does. So if you need any help in close quarter maneuvering or learning how to drive your big boat, you could reach out, head over to sandcitycharter.com. There's a Captain Gaige page. You can read a little bit about there. You can fill out the form and submit the form, and I will be happy to get in touch with you and schedule some training with you in the marina or out in the open water, either or both. So that's what the springtime brings. You got a lot of people that sold their boats. You got a lot of people that stepped into new boats, like Andrew in the fishing club, and the champ is here. You always hear me talking about the champ. He stepped into a much bigger boat, so forget about it. We're not going to see him locally this year. That kid's going to the Flemish Caps. He's gone. He had a small boat, and we saw him everywhere. So imagine now that he's got a bigger boat. Forget about it. Sorry, Mike. He's gone. Andrew's out of here. I love it. So Bay Rats and Buoys is hosting its second annual Striped Bass Invitational. It's going to go down Saturday, June 27th, and Sunday, June 28th. We're going to make it a full weekend. We may even kick it off like the WIC tournament does on that Friday the 26th at midnight that you can get out there. Maybe we'll all be out there midnight chunking, doing something cool. We just want to add a whole new element to it, you know? Me and Corey launched that tournament last year because we wanted to enter all the tournaments and be involved in competitive fishing. Well, there you go. That was the birth of thefishingleague.com, an 8-month-long battle between New York, Connecticut, and everybody that fishes the Long Island Sound. So you can have teams in Connecticut. You can have teams in New York. We could battle one another stateside in the middle of the Sound. We can do it team to team. The divisions are awesome. So we wanted to make it a lot of fun, and we did. We figured it out, and the website is awesome. You guys can go read about it at thefishingleague.com. There's a frequent asked questions page. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer any of them. Guys were signing up at the Ward Melville show. They were super excited about the league, and it was great to see. It gets once you talk to people about it, they're like, wow, this is awesome. It's not a one-weekend tournament. It lasts the whole season. You could win any month. Anybody can win May in the 5 divisions. So there's going to be 5 winners in April, 5 winners in May, 5 winners in June, so forth and so on, just in the divisions for the featured species. All right? Then there's an open species. It's not complex. It's very simple, and it's all explained on the website. I'm going to be putting videos out every day now for thefishingleague.com and help explain it to you guys so you understand it. It's a lot of fun. Very excited. So hopefully you're getting your boats ready because now is the time. Don't wait until May to go bring your reels into the shop. So we had Brandon on from Causeway Bait and Tackle. And I used to launch my boat in Wantor Park many, many years ago. So I know Causeway Bait and Tackle. It's an icon right there on Montauk Highway. You can't miss it. They'll never change the color of that building. If they do, it'd be the worst thing they ever did. But everybody knows that little yellow building. Brandon was also on the Pursuit boat episode at the New York Boat Show because he's the ambassador for Pursuit. So we had Kurt and Brandon on, which was fantastic. Kurt did a phenomenal job for Pursuit. Brandon did a great job on the podcast, so we had him back on at the Ward Melville show. He was representing Causeway on Saturday and Joe Baggs on Sunday. So he's a multifaceted individual. We love Brandon. He's awesome. So listen to that episode. It's already got a couple thousand views on Facebook, and it's doing well. People are checking it out. We gave away some secret fishing spots, which I love to do. The cat's out of the bag. Here's the secret weapon. And you want a secret spot, go run to the Raritan Bay and catch bass in April because it's going to be like Jurassic Park over there with the birds working and fish jumping out of the water. It's absolutely insane. It's next level. But we did talk about that with Brandon from Causeway Bait and Tackle on the podcast at Ward Melville. It was great. We also had a great conversation with Peter from Red Panther Rigs, who announced on the podcast that he was going to donate and sponsor thefishingleague.com and donate product to the kids that are in the family youth division, okay? So the family youth division in the league, there's 5 divisions, okay? There's an open division, which is 98% of the people that want to boat and fish and be in the league, okay? That represents the majority of the people in the league. The second division is the pro and captain division. If you're a mate, if you're an industry professional, and you want to compete against other industry professionals, you would be in the pro captain division. If you fish from the shore, you could be a solo shore angler. You could be you could put together a team from the shore of 2 to 4 shore anglers. And then we have the family and the youth division that requires you to have one person on the boat, on the team that is 16 years or younger. And Peter from Red Panther Rigs is going to donate rigs that go to specifically to the kids on the family and youth division. So I thought that was really cool. Very nice of him to do that. Very generous. and we greatly appreciate it. So that's the kind of response the league is getting all around the island, and it's going to be a ton of fun. A lot of people from the South Shore want to join, and they're asking about it, and we will do it next year on the South Shore. The reasoning for that was we want to hone in on it and make the league perfect, get the website and the app and everything working in unison so that it's perfect and it's flawless, so that now we can expand. We didn't want to just come out and do everything because it could have been overwhelming and you could collapse because of that. So we don't want that. We want to be successful. So we're doing it in little pieces, which is the Long Island Sound. So there you have it. Bay Rats and Buoys Fishing Club. You guys can join. You can head over to sandcitycharter.com to join the fishing club. We are officially a badass club with amazing members and amazing boats, and we can't wait to compete. I got some really good news. Man, you're going to love this, all right? Because I ran into, I believe his name is Warren. I did have it written down. I don't have it in front of me. And Warren is the president of the NYPD Fishing Club. So we had heard that they only fish from the shore. Well, on the contrary, we heard at Ward Melville from the horse's mouth, from the man that runs the club, that they accepted the challenge from the Bay Rats and Buoys Fishing Club and that they don't just fish from the shore, that they have everything. Their boats, everything. So we called them out and said, hey, let's have a competition. Let's have some sort of a tournament. All right. Smithtown Fishing Club. We called them out. We're going to set up a tournament with them and have a club-to-club competition. Manhasset. Holy shit. This club's been around since, if I got the date right, 1945. They got their own building. They got a gun range. They are 100% legit, and they have hundreds of members, which is really cool. We aspire to be this. We are a young club. We just kicked it off. We announced it in December that we were doing it. In January, we hosted our first meeting. And we're excited to have our second meeting, or it was in February. It was a few weeks ago. And it was awesome. And we got a great response, a lot of good feedback from it. So, not only are we going to challenge the clubs head-to-head, but I am going to set up multiple clubs to get out there on a weekend and have a tournament and see what we could do for conservation, see if we could tag fish and release and do something along the lines that we did at Bay Rats and Buoys, because it was super successful. Our first tournament had 20 boats for the first year, and we tagged 65 striped bass, and that's with a squall that came through in the morning, and I want to say at least 7 or 8 boats left and when that squall came through, that they didn't stick around and fish all day like the other guys that did. And Eric, Mike, and Andrew had the 46-inch striped bass that won the tournament. And they were about to leave, too, at the end of the day. They were calling it quits. They had caught a bunch of fish. They were on the leaderboard, and that's when they landed the 46-inch bass that won them the $2,500 grand prize, which was sponsored by J&M Seafood. And we're super grateful for the sponsors that we have and everybody that wants to get involved. You could head over to thefishingleague.com and jump in and sponsor. There's all kinds of levels of sponsorship. So once you head over to it, you just click on the top. You'll see it says sponsorship, and you can jump in and help the league out and get involved and help make it great, which is awesome. We appreciate it. Thank you. So I think we're 34 days away from opening day. I'm sitting in the studio. It's Thursday morning. I'm back on schedule. I'm getting the podcast up and out on time. I did record a little bit yesterday, and I had to go run an errand with my daughter. She was in a couple of plays at school for the past few days, so I had to go do something with the school, and I was like, you know what? I'll come in Thursday morning. I'll bang out the podcast. We got a lot going on. It's a very busy time of the year. Everybody's running around getting their stuff together for the boats. But again, if you have rods and reels and stuff that needs to be repaired and conditioned for the season, there's no better time than right now to go hand it in, get it to your shop, support the local shops, give them the business, get it done, And this way you're ready come opening day on April 15th. You don't want to drop it off in May or the end of April. And I understand not everybody launches their boat the first week of April like I do. I get it. So people wait till they launch their boat until they need their gear. And by the time you go and drop it off the shop, then there's a couple of weeks that you have to wait to get it back because there's a lot of people that do it like that. So I recommend you go do it right now. Jump in and do it and get it done. At the shows, we pick up all the terminal tackle that we need for the season. We pick up the fluorocarbon, the leaders, any of the TA clips that we use because we're all tied up, ready to go. We have a TA clip. And I'll tell you what I love about these. We talked about it with Chris from Go Deep MTK at the Ward Melville show, is that they have single BKK hooks on the back. You've heard me tell you that the single BKK is my favorite hook. So I absolutely love single hooks and BKK hooks. They're my favorite. So we're done with treble hooks. The only time I'm using the treble hooks is on the flutter spoons. They're really big treble hooks. They're easy to unhook the fish and get them off. But again, I love fishing with single hooks. Easier, catch and release. We tag the fish, me and Corey. We're big on conservation and doing the right thing. Now, historically, when we've had really cold winters, I mean, this is the coldest winter I think we've had in a decade, where, guys were out there walking across and you had Matt Broderick was clamming on a hole that he had to cut out with a chainsaw on the ice on the Great South Bay just to bring back clamming during the winter to show you that this is what they used to do in the 70s, and I don't know what year, but I'm just saying that. He was here on a podcast that he did with the East End Anglers. You saw that podcast we put out, Bay Rats and Buoys, had the East End Anglers on. And when they were in the studio, they did a podcast with Matt Broderick, and it was fantastic. So hopefully that gets out soon and you guys see that. And people did a lot of ice fishing this year and did stuff differently because of the big winter that we had, So when we have these cold winters, the water temperature drops. But historically, the spring fishing is great, and we've had good spawns. So let's see. Let's see what the numbers do this year. I'm curious to see because this was a winter where even Montauk had ice waves coming into the shoreline, which is stuff you didn't see, in the last 10 years. So I'm excited to get out there and see what the water temperature is. I know people at the Ward Melville will tell me the water temp is 35 degrees. And, now we're finally getting into these 50-degree days, 40-degree nights. And as it grows and we get those 50-degree nights, the water temperature is going to warm up. So I always said the magic temperature was 55 degrees for the striped bass. And we get out there, it's 49 degrees. Corey created a device for the boat because it was charters in April and we were catching striped bass and we were reviving the fish just to see it swim off strong. And he's holding his hand in the water and he's holding the fish by the lip. And there's a few telltale signs when they clamp down with their mouth or their dorsal fin pops straight up. They're ready to take off. And his hand was getting numb. So I'll bring into the studio the device that he made. It's really cool. So Corey's Customs, Corey can make anything. We made this table, me and Corey. I constructed it and he did the epoxy and the staining and whatnot. And the rope is actually from Mike Acito Huntington. It was probably in his garage for, a good decade or two. It smells like it. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't smell. So Corey made this, and I'll show you a piece that Corey made for my boat. And I'm super excited. I'm going to give away some stuff that Corey did make, a bait net and a few things. We're going to start having some raffles and getting stuff going early on in the season. We're working on the Bay Rats and Buoys full line of merchandise. That's coming up next this spring. So there's a lot of stuff in the works. But, most importantly, the biggest project for the winter that we've worked real hard on is the fishingleague.com that you can head over there and check that out. That's big. Very excited about that. And anybody going to the Edison show, the New Jersey Saltwater Fishing Expo this weekend in Edison, New Jersey. We'll be walking around. So if you see us, say what's up. We're always happy to see you. Everybody that we did see at the show, it was great to meet you. And we appreciate you being loyal listeners of the Bay Rats and Buoys podcast. You guys are awesome. We've built a really cool fishing community through this. We now have tournaments. We now have a fishing club. And we have now created a fishing league for the entire Long Island Sound, from the Throgs Neck Bridge to the race, New York to Connecticut. We cover the entire Long Island Sound. So we're not leaving anybody out. If you boat in the Sound, you kayak, or you fish from the shore, you could be solo or you can put a team together. Head over to thefishingleague.com and get involved. I would register now because spots are limited and the divisions are going to fill up, and we're going to have to just close down registration, because once we get enough teams, we're going to say, okay, we don't want to be overwhelmed and crazy because every team's going to be submitting fish and whatnot. And, we want to be able to have control of this thing. So the spots are limited. So I would say jump in there and register now. However, it's 35 days until opening day, 34 days, I think it is. It was 35 yesterday. I did the podcast yesterday, redoing it today. It was I did a short version yesterday, and it was too short. So the audio version does real well. Manny actually brought it up. He says, hey, how come on YouTube it doesn't get a gazillion views? And I said, well, podcast, it's a podcast. A lot of guys call me and say, hey, I listened to it on the train on the way home from work. A lot of people listening to it in the car on the way to work or coming home and travel and in their travels. Not everybody sits down and watches a full 30, 40-minute video on YouTube. People's attention span are, oh, look, what? Oh, look. That's it. Gone. Attention span's over. They're this. This is what they're doing on their phone. So nobody's going to watch a full podcast video. Those that do, we greatly appreciate you. That's why we do have a camera rolling. But the audio version is heard in 5 countries, and it gets a ridiculous amount of downloads every week. And it's super exciting how it's grown and it's growing, and the passion for fishing. You've heard me mention, oh, man, I'm waiting outside my daughter's school for the play, and the security guard is telling me he's got a Bay Rats and Buoys sticker on his truck. So what do I do yesterday morning? I show up with an envelope with all kinds of stickers from Bay Rats and Buoys, the tournament, the original sticker, the newest sticker. I gave him a Cito sticker and a Corey's Custom sticker in an envelope. And my daughter opened the window and handed it to him as we pulled up to the entrance of the school. So thank you, Mark, for being a loyal listener. You, my friend, are coming out with us to catch some serious bass. No doubt about it. So we're excited. We're excited to get out there with Brandon on the South Shore. We're going to get out there with Adam from the Tuna Cartel. So this is why we go to the shows. So captain to captain, face to face, we can actually speak. And it's not all through social media, which is great. Like when we had Andrew and Ethan on from the East End Anglers, they came from New York City to come to the studio here. You know what I mean? So when you're face-to-face with people, to me, that's so much better than doing it through social media. So that's why we host meetings. We get to all the shows. We get out there, and we're shaking hands. We're meeting and greeting people, and we absolutely love it. So we're excited to see you guys back out on the water soon. Hopefully you're as excited as we are. Get your gear ready. I will be showing you new products every week, okay? I am going to be responsible for getting some of these products into the local stores that do not have them, okay? And we pride ourselves on that because we want to support the local businesses. The big conglomerates, they don't need our business. The local shops, they really need you to head in there and start getting your fishing gear ready and buy new gear. Speaking of buying new gear, Manny bought like this $6,000 ODM spinning setup for his boat. And it was a great setup. He handed it to me, and I was like, whoa, this is insane. It was an all-species setup. He could catch a 50-pound bass on it, and he can catch tog on it, and he can catch weak fish, anything. So it was a great setup, and it wasn't $6,000, Manny. Everybody knows. We're not counting your money, but it was a beautiful setup that he got, and he got a great deal on it. So that's why you show up to the shows and support the local businesses. And what's cool about the Ward Melville show, real quick, before I close this out, is guys come from Alaska. Guys come from all over. It's not the tri-state. I always say it's the biggest show on Long Island, and guys come from all over the tri-state, meaning New Jersey, Connecticut, and Long Island. But it's Pennsylvania, it's Massachusetts, it's Maine, it's Cape Cod, it's Alaska. Guys had a booth there from Alaska. So, I mean, that is just wild. Bob Wilson does a great job. The Patriots Fishing Club does an amazing job helping everybody load in, load out. The kids get a ton of gear from people there that give everything to them. And it really is. It's great to see the fishing community come together like that. It's a very strong community we have here on Long Island. And I'm blessed to be part of it. I'm blessed to be a charter captain and do what I love out on the water. Even more excited to be a commercial tow captain and helping people out there in a time of need. And, because anything is possible out there on the water. It happens to the best of us. I happen to have 2 instances last year on the boat where we were disabled. However, I didn't need to be towed, and I didn't even need a good Sam to help me. It was crazy. So I spun the hub, stretched the cable, and still managed to get myself back into the harbor. So the pride of this tow captain did not need to be towed. There was no tow of shame for Sand City Charter. Which people always talk to me when they're hooked up to my boat and they're on the hip and I'm bringing them back down to their slip and we're going down the harbor and passing the town dock and they're looking and everybody's looking at them and they're waving. It's the walk of shame. So it's the tow of shame. I get it. But everybody understands owning a boat. Shit happens out there. And I'm grateful to be the person that responds when you hail us or a member calls in and needs assistance out there. On water marine assistance is a very important service. I always recommend it to you guys. Cito Huntington is a big part of the fishingleague.com and has always been a big part of Bay Rats and Buoys. So I always recommend to head over to cito.com and get a membership, okay? And I think it's one of the best things you could do for owning a boat. You're willing to spend all that money on a Yeti cooler, but you don't have a contract membership with a company that you call that's going to send a qualified captain out there to respond to you in a time of need. And I think that's more important than purchasing the Yeti cooler. Although, you know me, I have the Yeti cooler with me. I'm big on my Diet Cokes. And me and John, the Clam Slammers, they showed up at Ward Melville. And, that camaraderie that we have through Diet Coke and Pepsi and the stuff that we post on Facebook, I absolutely love it, John. I wouldn't want it any other way. So let's keep that going. I still think you guys have the best name in the league, although there are a lot of guys competing with you name-wise. I'll drop a few in the next episode. I'll put a list out and show you some of the fun names people have come up with, the Striper Snipers. And there's a whole list of them. I mean, it's unbelievable. You guys are coming up with some very creative names, and I think it's pretty cool. So remember, it doesn't have to be the name of your boat. You could name the team whatever you want. Guys are getting jerseys and really putting the team together and making it a lot of fun. And we got some secrets that we're going to launch throughout the league, throughout the season for the league and let you know. Going to get you even more excited. But there's going to be cash prizes, sponsored giveaways, and all kinds of stuff. So, guys, we're going to have a great season this year out there. We really are. And for an 8-month-long competition, it's going to be a ton of fun. It really is. And it's one of the first leagues to be launched on the Long Island Sound. We're very proud of that. It's a very big project for us. And again, head over to thefishingleague.com, support it, get a team in. And we look forward to seeing you out there this season. Captain Gaige, episode 71. I'm almost on the back of the boat, guys. Just a few weeks left. But, when I get out there, it's going to be cold. May, it's going to be chilly sitting on the back of the boat. I know it is. I might even have to wear a jacket. Or maybe I'll wait for a warm day. So, back on schedule. Podcast will be up and out by Thursday, 6 o'clock, as usual. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments. If you need help with anything or you need any recommendations, feel free to reach out. Episode 71 is officially in the books. I did give a shout out to Janine. It was great to see you at the show. Thanks for stopping by the booth. That made our weekend. We love you guys. Wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I'll see you out on the water. Captain Gaige signing off, over and out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gaige on all our social media channels.